It was another typical afternoon when HOA Karen decided to escalate her harassment to a new level. This time, her target was my children. She had apparently convinced herself that yelling at my kids was her duty, some twisted interpretation of authority she imagined she held over our family. Her arrival was dramatic, as always. A flurry of papers, a pointed finger, and a voice loud enough to carry across the entire block. Karen began berating the children, accusing them of making too much noise, running on community paths, and breaking rules that didn't exist. Her words were a mix of threats and wild proclamations, and she seemed genuinely convinced that fear and intimidation could bend reality to her will. Neighbors peeked out their windows, some recording on their phones, all curious to witness the latest confrontation in what had become an infamous saga of HOA overreach. My wife, anticipating this escalation, calmly intervened. "Karen," she said firmly, "our children are not violating any rules, and you have no authority to address them in this manner. Any harassment will be documented and addressed legally." Karen, shocked by the calm resistance, attempted to continue her tirade, but my wife pressed play on a recording from previous encounters. The recording captured Karen's own words from prior incidents, exposing her pattern of harassment and overreach. She had unknowingly armed us with the perfect tool, evidence of her repeated misconduct. As the recording played, Karen's face went from defiance to confusion, then to sheer panic. She tried to interrupt, insisting that the video was irrelevant, but it was clear to everyone, including her own shocked entourage, that the recording was irrefutable. Karen's theatrics began to unravel completely. She shouted and flailed, but each gesture only highlighted her lack of credibility. The neighbors watching from a distance whispered among themselves, amazed at how predictably Karen's overconfidence led her into humiliation. My wife's calm demeanor, combined with the evidence, left her with no room to maneuver. Even as Karen attempted to call 911 to report the situation, it was too late. Her pattern of harassment was well documented, and the authorities were already aware of her previous behavior. Her threats now fell flat, her voice reduced to desperate shouts that no one took seriously. Every attempt to regain control only served to highlight her escalating irrationality. By the time she finally retreated, Karen was visibly shaken and thoroughly defeated. Her reputation, once inflated by perceived authority, had been reduced to a cautionary tale of entitlement and overreach. Our children, completely unharmed and unaware of the drama, continued their play as if nothing had happened, while Karen's threats echoed only in her own embarrassment. Later, as my wife reviewed the footage and documentation, it became clear that this encounter was yet another addition to the growing evidence of Karen's repeated harassment. Her attempts to intimidate, yell, or control had been neutralized once again by preparation, calm reasoning, and strategic planning. The incident reinforced a recurring lesson: entitlement and aggression without knowledge and foresight inevitably backfire. By nightfall, the neighborhood returned to quiet, our children safe and carefree, and HOA Karen's credibility diminished further. Her repeated miscalculations had created yet another legendary episode in a saga that continued to unfold in spectacular fashion, proving once more that patience, preparation, and calm authority always prevail over chaos and arrogance.